Arrived a few minutes ago. I'm calling the meeting of April 26, 2022 to order. And would folks please take their places? And may I ask, would member Lynn LaPlante lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And please remain standing afterwards as we have invocation from our friends from the Islamic Center of Naperville. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to invite Kashif Fakhrudin from the Islamic Center of Naperville to lead us in invocation. Thank you, sir. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize our Muslim friends in DuPage County as they continue to observe Ramadan this month.
Thank you. Our Lord, we begin with your name, the most merciful, the most kind. On this day, we thank you for everything you have given us and everything you have taken from us due to your ultimate wisdom. Allow us to be amongst your grateful worshipers. Our Lord, forgive us, guide us, and heal us. We ask you to heal those that are sick. Bring solace to those that have lost loved ones and protect us all. We ask that you set right our affairs, that you be with us at every step of the way. Do not leave us to ourselves for even the blink of an eye, for you are ever living and most powerful. Our Lord, we pray that you allow us to see the truth as truth and follow it. You allow us to see falsehood as falsehood and then stay away from it. We ask you to facilitate for us ease and grant us wisdom and justice so that we may pray, so that we may serve our communities in a manner that is pleasing to you. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Here.
Chavez. Here. Covert. Here. Desart. Here. DeCiani. Here. Eckhoff. Here. Garcia.
Here.
Hart. Here. Krajewski. LaPlante. Here. Ozog. Here. Pachowski. Here. Renahan. Rutledge.
Here.
Schwarzy. Selman.
Here.
Tornatore. Here. And Zay.
Good morning, everyone. We have a quorum, and on the order of Chairman's report, we have a couple of very exciting presentations. I'm so excited to celebrate our DuPage Olympians, and I'd like to invite member Ozog, Mary Ozog, and we have Ethan Sepperin in the family to join me up here at the podium. Wow, look at that. A real Olympic athlete. Holy cow. What an honor. So we are so lucky to welcome some truly exceptional guests here today. All are Olympic medalists who have roots here in DuPage County and represented Team USA in the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. We are honored to welcome Ethan, bronze medal winner, speed skater from Glen Ellen, Illinois, ladies and gentlemen. Ethan is visiting his hometown and joins us here in the boardroom. And via Zoom, we welcome Addison's own Alexa Nerum. Alexa, there she is in the bottom left. Wow. Alexa Nerum, a 2022 silver medalist in pairs figure skating. She and her partner Brandon Frazier also just captured the World Pairs Figure Skating Championship in France in March. Isn't that nice? What a different life, you know? Slightly different than the county board member, you know, very exciting and traveling the world and representing us, and we're so excited and proud to welcome you here. We also congratulate silver medalist and Downers Grove native, Savannah Harmon. Savannah Harmon, there she is. who was the major contributor and a factor that made a difference as a member of the U.S. women's hockey team. Each of these fine young people demonstrated grace, grit, and great sportsmanship at the 2022 Olympic Games in Beijing. We are so proud of you. We are so excited that you're here to participate with us. Also, thank you to the board members who helped get us connected to these Olympians, Member Ozog and Garcia. Today we're thrilled to honor these athletes with a proclamation. I'll read the proclamation, and then I'm going to invite Member Ozog to say a few words, and our Olympian here to say a few words. And so here it is. Whereas DuPage County has a history of strong athletic achievement, including producing numerous Olympians who have won medals in their respective sports or events. And whereas the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics took place from February 4th to February 20th in China, and 3 DuPage County natives, Ethan Seperin, Savannah Harmon, Alexa Neerman, competed in those games, and whereas the American team of speed skaters, which included Glen Ellen native Ethan, won the bronze medal after beating the Netherlands in the semifinals. And whereas Ethan recently returned home and gave back to his community by inspiring young people at an event at the B.R. Ryle YMCA, and whereas Addison native Alexa competed in pair figure skating with her partner Brandon Frazier, finished 6th in Olympic competition, and helped the United States team win the silver medal in the competition. And whereas Alexa and Brandon also won the gold medal at the World Figure Skating Championship in March in France, the first American pair to clinch that title since 1979. And whereas the women's hockey team with defender Savannah Harmon, formerly of Downers Grove, battled their way back to winning a silver medal. And whereas the silver medal was Savannah Harmon's latest hockey success after being drafted with the 6th overall pick in the 2017 National Women's Hockey League draft, and most recently playing with the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association in Minnesota. And whereas Ethan, Savannah, and Alexa showcase the strength of DuPage County athletic programs, and they represent the county in a positive manner, demonstrating outstanding sportsmanship, an unparalleled work ethic, and exhibiting Olympian spirit of fair play, inclusion, and equality. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Daniel J. Cronin, Chairman of the DuPage County Board, members of the board, do hereby congratulate these 3 Olympians on their fantastic athletic achievements and thank them for representing their nation and their county, DuPage County, in an exemplary manner. I'll entertain a motion to approve. So moved. Seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Proclamation is approved. Thank you. Congratulations, Olympians. Wow. Mary, you want to say a few words? Yeah, please.
First of all, I want to thank Carl and Marilyn, Ethan's parents. I've known them since before Ethan was born. And I also want Ethan to know how proud Glen Ellen is. I was part of a group when he was actually skating that met at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning at the Glen Ellen Historical Society. Over 100 people, many from Glen Ellen, I won't say everybody, were there to watch you. And the news came. It was a very exciting morning, but huge community support, and we're very proud of Ethan. And after this, he gets to go to his junior high, and I'm sure they'll be very excited to see him. So thank you for being here, and thank you to Ethan's parents. Thank you.
Ethan, would you like to say a few words, please? Sure. Yeah, please. We want to make sure we include Alexa and Savannah as well, so you kick it off for us first.
Well, I just want to say thanks for having me. It's an absolute honor to be recognized by the county board. It's been amazing coming back from the games, being able to call myself an Olympian. It's an absolute honor being able to represent the U.S. at the highest stage in the world for speed skating. I don't know. I'm at a lost for words just thinking about it. Every day I'm just like, wow. Can't believe I'm an Olympian, let alone Olympic medalist, and it's amazing to be able to share the stage with 2 other amazing athletes from DuPage. We really just have a great history, and just amazing athletes from the area, and it's amazing to see. It's amazing to come back, give back, just talk to kids, and just, see their faces light up, and you're just like, wow, you're an Olympian, and, as a kid, I grew up looking up to Shawnee Davis and such, and just thinking wow, that guy is just amazing. I want to be like him just someday, And now I realize, he's just another guy, kind of just like me, just a little bit better, and just trying to help, hopefully leave a similar impact.
Very nice. Very nice. So, Lexa, would you like to share a few thoughts with us?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. It is an honor. I just have to say that before I got onto Team USA, which was probably like 10 years ago, every competition I skated in, they would announce me as Alexis Zemecka from the DuPage Figure Skating Club. And DuPage has just been a part of my identity for so long. And even after I moved to pursue my figure skating career in pairs and traveled the world, DuPage has kind of just been part of who I am. And being invited to be here today is a privilege. And I'm just so grateful to be from the most amazing community. And I hope that we have more Olympians and more amazing people develop throughout the years, and I hope I'm here to witness it and help in any way that I can. So thank you so much for having me, and I will always love DuPage.
All right. You want to run for office? She'd be good. We could use her. Savannah, please, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, too. I'm just incredibly honored, as Ethan said, just to be an Olympian, and it still doesn't exactly feel real saying it. But I'm just incredibly proud to be from Downers Grove. My family's still there, and there's nothing better than coming home. So I just wanted to say thank you all for having and inviting me today and honoring us. We're just incredibly thankful.
That's awesome. Well, Savannah, Alexa, and Ethan, you really made our day today, and we really so proud of you and so impressed by your achievements, and we really are it's heartwarming to hear your connection to the community and your love of it. So thank you for representing us, and you've done us proud. God bless you. Thank you.
So nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Oh, we're just throwing these home. A gallon of chocolate milk every 2 days.
I believe it. All right, that was fun. Our next item here on our chairman's report is our National Therapy Animal Day. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to invite Leslie, Allison Sia, Tiffany the dog, Anella the dog, Kathy Barnes, and member Brian Krajewski to join me up here at the podium when we consider the serious physical and mental health impacts of the pandemic. And how can you not? It's been an awful experience for everyone. It helps us realize how important it is to offer emotional comfort to those who are ill. That's why today we are thrilled to welcome back our dynamic pet therapy team featuring Tiffany, who we have met previously, and Anella, our new four-legged friend, and their human handlers, Leslie and Kathy. As dog lovers, Animal Services Committee Chair Brian Krajewski and I are pleased to celebrate April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day. So with our proclamation this morning, we recognize all the amazing therapy animals who partner with their human handlers to give back to their communities. I'm going to read the proclamation, and then I'm going to ask our guests to say a few words. And so here we go. Whereas therapy animals therapy animal teams play an essential role in the health and well-being of residents through the human-animal bond. And whereas therapy animals and their handlers interact with a variety of people in the DuPage County community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students, and those approaching end of life. And whereas Pet Partners, a nonprofit organization, registers therapy animals who play an essential role in improving human health and well-being, and whereas Pet Partners therapy animal teams located in the village of Roselle help people of all ages and all settings, such as hospitals, pediatric care units, schools, churches, nursing homes, and hospice. And whereas April 30th has been designated as National Therapy Animal Day to recognize exceptional therapy animals who partner with their human companions to bring comfort and healing to people in need. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Daniel J. Cronin, Chairman of the DuPage County Board, members of the Board, do hereby recognize April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day and encourage our residents to recognize the many contributions of therapy animals and their human handlers who offer healing, a sense of security, and joy to thousands of people in our region. I'll entertain a motion. Seconded. All those in favor say aye. Ayes have it. It says approved the 26th day of April. Thank you very much. This is awesome.
I just want to thank them for the great work you guys do in the community with the therapy dogs. I know we use some at the convalescent center, a lot of the local hospitals, but it's great that your companions can help brighten the days for a number of people. But thank you for the great work that you guys do with your therapy dogs. I know this, she likes to get a picture taken. She was posing for the camera there for you, Joan. But if you guys want to say a little word, tell us about where you guys take your dogs and the therapy that you do for the great citizens of DuPage.
Thank you for having us back. Tiffany got very excited on the drive. She actually knew where we were going, so she's thrilled to be back, and she brought her friend. As it turns out, Kathy and I trained together a few years ago, and she's actually my inspiration as well as Tiffany's, because Kathy has taken her dog one step further than Tiff, and we're hoping to get there. Her dog is a comfort dog, which she's going to tell you a little bit more about. But I just wanted to give a shout out to the Tri-Town YMCA. We started working with them last fall with the vaccination program for the kids. She was a big hit there, and they now have invited us to work with their after-school program as well as their holiday camp program, and Tiffany loves the kids. So come on up.
You think you have hair? I've got 2 of them and 4 cats that are not therapy. I've got both Goldens are both therapy dogs, and we work at Elk Grove at the hospital, and then there's a residence on Blisterfield, the hospice place that we go to. I also go to numerous schools for reading programs, and I work at one middle school every week because middle school kids have issues, and I sit in the counselor's office, and various kids come down, and she's also a reward for kids to behave themselves because then they get out of class to come see the dog. She enjoys it, so does my other one. Legally, I can only bring 1 dog at a time with my insurance policy with Pet Partners. This dog is also, I hope, crisis response dog. The other one is in training to do this. I work with the FBI, FEMA, Red Cross, Salvation Army. We don't self-deploy. We get invited in for issues. 2 weeks ago, we were down in Aurora doing train derailment training. I know how to get in and out of a train now through the windows and where the kill switch is. And it was a good presentation, and they talked about even just working with the engineers on the train, because when there's an accident, a train takes a mile to stop. So unless you call in, you can't just wave them and tell them to stop. And so these engineers, they're traumatized by whatever that happens. So she also does that kind of work. This is all volunteer. I'm background checked every month. she goes to we have a close relationship with the vet because she has to maintain her health and bathing and shampooing and cleaning. So there's a lot of work that goes into keeping the therapy dog. So, and exercising, of course. And you can see these dogs could care less where they are, so they love everybody. We were in the hospital the other day and the fire alarm went off. Some construction workers were working and the staff was like, oh my God, she doesn't even care. I said, no, she's been trained to be desensitized to noises and flashing lights and doors closing and everything else. So.
That's nice. So I was thinking, everybody loves animals, and if you want to all come up here, let's take a group photo with the dogs. Pete, you like dogs, right? So yeah, everybody likes right.
You'll get golden glitter on you.
Right. We need a little more excluded. Yeah. Dogs. It's all right.
I know, right? How are you? Who doesn't like a dog? Really great dogs. Thank you so much. Our next item on our chairman's report, we have Giving DuPage Day, DuPage Days, and it's a proclamation, and I'd like to invite Ashley, if she'd come up and join me along with Greg, and Shafali is here, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd be kind enough to come on up here and join me at the podium. Each year at this time, we acknowledge the importance of the volunteer organizations here in our community. We know how important they are, and we have partnered with volunteer organizations for many years, as long as I've been around and before that here in DuPage County. And it's wonderful to underscore the unprecedented level of support many of these folks have provided to DuPage County residents, particularly most recently with all the challenges from the pandemic. Giving DuPage is an outstanding organization that connects volunteers and donors with local groups that can help them contribute time or treasure to the organization of their choice. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming. You know, people want to help out, but where do you go? How do you find the charity of your choice? I mean, a lot of us get a lot of interaction, and a lot of people know where to go, but a lot of people don't. And they have good intentions and they want to help, and so Giving DuPage connects those folks. So Giving DuPage is hosting a virtual community fundraiser encouraging those who can to support more than 95 local charities. Board members Ashley Selman and Greg Hart serve on the board of Giving DuPage, and Executive Director Shafali Trivedi will also accept our proclamation. I'm going to read it right now. So nice to see Shafali. Haven't seen you in a while. Whereas the DuPage County Board recognizes the charitable contributions made through the Giving DuPage Days event to increase awareness and raise funds for local nonprofit organizations. And whereas Giving DuPage Days is an opportunity for nonprofit organizations to participate in an online fundraising event without dedicating their own staff time or resources.
Whereas since its first year, Giving DuPage Days event has raised $622,000 with support from 4,604 local donors. Whereas Giving DuPage Days is known as the virtual fundraiser supporting the most charity organizations in one event, inspiring residents and raising money for their favorite causes during this countywide community event. And whereas the Giving DuPage Days event will create awareness for local nonprofit organizations providing programs in the areas of poverty, hunger, education, health, seniors, arts and culture, youth, animal welfare, homelessness, disability services, social justice, job placement, military and veterans, and emergency response. And whereas Giving DuPage offers capacity building resources for 400 local nonprofit agencies, such as Giving DuPage Days as a fundraiser event, or connecting more than 1,200 volunteers annually to local community agencies. So whereas this year marks the third annual Giving DuPage Days event with the goal to raise $550,000 more for the 95 local charitable organizations, and it's going to take place online between May 2nd, beginning May 2nd through May 6th. Is that correct? And I really would love to see everybody participate in this. And it really is kind of our marquee charitable exercise. And so I'll entertain a motion on this resolution. So move. Second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Shafali, please come on up here and accept this. Come on. Greg and Ashley, come on up here. Please say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the board for recognizing this proclamation. It's really an honor to work alongside Shafali and Ashley on the Giving DuPage board. And this organization does so much good in our county, and Giving DuPage Days is really the representation of that. As the chairman mentioned, there's not a single issue that a nonprofit serves in this county that isn't touched by Giving DuPage Days, whether you care about veterans issues, women's issues, animal issues. There's a charity that you can help support through participating in Giving DuPage Days. Our goal this year is $550,000 to raise. That's building on north of $600,000 that has been raised over the last 2 years. So I encourage everyone to get involved and look forward to participating with you. And I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Thank you. I just wanted to follow up briefly on what the chairman was talking about. In the last 3 years, we've all had sort of the negative parts of the pandemic we've dealt with. We've dealt with fear over people keeping their jobs, whether or not we can keep people's salaries adequate, whether or not we can give them raises. I remember Hart and I, through working with Giving DuPage, had the opportunity, especially in spring of 2020, to really see the generosity of DuPage County. I think a lot of us have changed the way we live in our local communities. We try to shop more local. We try to get more out of our local resources. And I think this is just another way we can really make sure we're supporting our county, whether it's animal services or any other topic. They usually win. So Member Kuczynski, I hope that you guys have the same level of ferociousness this year, but there you go. So I'm sure we'll hit our goal, but you guys will all help us get there, and I think it's something we can really all be proud of. So thank you.
Thank you. This morning. Hasn't it a whirlwind so far? Really nice. So on the order of Chairman's remarks, I offer a couple thoughts for your consideration. There's an item on today's agenda that might need a bit of explanation because we only perform this duty once every 10 years. For those who have never participated before, let me simply explain that after each decennial reapportionment, that means every 10 years, by statute, we publicly determine the lengths of the terms for the county board members who will be elected in the fall. So the terms are either 2 or 4 years and rotate in length because, of course, you got to come up for election every 10 years. So 10 is not divisible by 4, so we got to have. So This drawing of lots to group the county board districts and ensure equal distribution of terms amongst the district is done publicly and will be completed and recorded at our meeting today. After the certification of the November 6, 2022 general election, but before the terms of new county board members begin in December, the county board will conduct a second public lottery determining which members and which members-elect will serve terms of 2 and 4 years. In just a few minutes, when we get to the division of county board districts into groups by public lottery item on the agenda, I will turn the narration and further explanation over to our Assistant State's Attorney. This young man seated at my left. The county clerk will do the drawing. The board will then vote to approve the results of that drawing immediately thereafter. Finally, on behalf of DuPage County Health Board President Sam Tornatore, a fabulous leader on public health issues, and our county health department, let me thank all of our residents who have received COVID vaccination. We continue to have the highest vaccination rate in the state, and that's a really, really good thing. An even better thing would be if every person who was eligible to receive a shot did so. DuPage County providers, including our health department, have a plentiful supply of vaccine, and for those who need a booster, now's a great time to get one. As always, DuPageHealth.org will provide lots of information about vaccines and COVID testing resources. So that concludes my remarks. That concludes my report. We move on to the next item of business entitled Public Comment. Pardon me? Oh, how did we miss that? Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Animal Services Addition and Renovation presentation. We've got Barbara Hannock here today. How could I forget this? I'm so sorry. Nothing more important. Please, come on up here. We had dogs. I thought we covered the whole animal thing, but I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Welcome. We need to hear from you. And I was very excited about this. This is fabulous new renovation, much needed. And thank you for your leadership on it. Would not have happened without it. Thank you very much. Take it away, Barb Hannock. Dr. Hannock.
First, thank you, Chairman Cronin, as far as your incredible leadership and always inspiring us and encouraging us to be our best. And also a special shout out to our Vice Chair and our Chair, Dawn Dessart and Brian Kajewski, who's been extremely instrumental in transforming us from animal care and control to animal services. So first, I'd like to start with our focus, basically our mission, and it's really simple. It's to save animals and help people. That's what we're all about. The next slide, please. I'd like to start by sharing some of the things that we do. This is just a small list on the left there that we do as far as saving and sheltering animals and also providing public safety. We process over 1,200 bites, animal bites that happen in the county each year, and also by controlling rabies in our community. On the bottom left there, you see a dog that was brought to us. It's a young adult husky named Hunter. And he was neglected in his home and was brought to us severely emaciated, could barely stand, was near death. And then on the right there, you could see where he's gained 25 pounds and he's happy and healthy in his new home. So unlike a private shelter, DuPage County Animal Services does not get to choose what animals are brought to us. We are literally the safety net for unwanted or homeless animals in our community and beyond. Animals arrive to us in poor condition and are often brought to us, and it takes an incredible team and significant resources to get them healthy and happy in order to be able to get them adopted and transferred out to rescue groups. The chart on the right shows our progress that we've made, the live release rate. So roughly about 10 to 12 years ago, we were about 50% of the animals that were brought to us that were saved and left our facility. And with a lot of hard work, you can see that recently, just last year, we were at 89%, so almost 90%. So we're really proud of that. That's pretty amazing for a municipal shelter. The problem is that our building has not kept up with the progress that we are making. The next slide, please. We are the only open admission shelter in DuPage County. We are self-funded. We receive no tax dollars. Our revenue is primarily through the sale of rabies tags. And we receive well over 2,000 animals each year and see a great variety of species. So bear with me as I kind of list some of the ones that we see. It's not just cats and dogs. As you know, we see rabbits, peacocks, ducks, chickens. We see birds from finches all the way to large parrots, lizards, snakes, turtles. Chameleon is now living at Brookfield Zoo. We see ferrets, hamsters, gerbils, guinea pigs, pet mice, pet rats, tarantula, hermit crab, miniature horse, baby goat, and this is just a partial list. I can go on and on, but I know you want to get through this meeting. So all these animals require special housing and customized diet. So unfortunately, both of those things require a lot of space, which is one thing that we do not have. You see here on the left, the two pictures show animals living in hallways, and that's just not when we're busy, that's all the time. We just don't have the space to house them, and we want to save them, so we find housing in the hallway. And the kitty in the center, you can see how some of our cages are quite small, where their food and water is literally inches from where they're to urinate and defecate, so less than ideal as far as for them. And then through the pictures you see on the bottom right, you can see all the specialized, we have bedding and aquariums and bird cages and bird seed and hay and enrichment materials. So there's a lot of supplies that's required to save these pets and make their stay with us as comfortable as possible. And then on the upper right is our one lobby that we have for the public. And their happy events happen, and sometimes sad events, like happy events like adoptions, but also sad events like maybe relinquishment. And unfortunately, sometimes the dog might be aggressive, so now you have, potentially a dangerous situation. And as far as if a dangerous dog is in that lobby, so we find that a different layout would prove to be much safer if you had separate entrances for both. All right, so let's see. Next slide, please. We call this the surgery room on the left there, but a lot more than surgery happens here. Here, animals are sedated. They're prepped for surgery, means they're shaved and they're sterile scrub on the surgery being performed. Surgeries also happen here, and dentals. And unfortunately, when you have, in a veterinary facility, most of these spaces are going to be separate. You're going to have an area where they're prepped, an animal where surgeries are done, and an area where dentals are done. But because we have a small space, it's all done in this one space. And that's unfortunate, because that's the last thing a surgeon wants if you have an abdomen open, is to have hair flying in the air and bacteria in the air from when you do dentals and you use a drill, you're aerosolizing bacteria and stuff like that. So it's, again, less than ideal. And then we really don't have a place to recover them. So right behind me, you can have a 100-pound Rottweiler that's waking up from anesthesia, and meanwhile they're bumping into the back of my leg, or bumping into the instrument stand there. So again, less than ideal. You'll see a common theme through a lot of these pictures, and that's basically a lack of space, where supplies are stacked to the ceiling. And it's not safe either for our staff that we climb up there just to get syringes and such, different equipment. And then on the bottom right, you can see that's where we house our human animals. So that's basically the office space. And not everybody gets an office, a desk. They have to a lot of times share, and this is compounded when we have volunteers, because we heavily rely upon volunteers. And then it's also difficult to have conversations with the public that we're trying to help on the phone, because you have multiple conversations that are happening in a confined space. So as you can see, we have a great need for additional space, and we're happy to provide a tour for anybody who would like to see our challenges. And next, I'd like to introduce Roxanne Knapp. She's an architect who has been working on a solution to our challenges.
Very nice. Thank you, Dr. Hannock.
Thank you, Dr. Hannock. I wanted to go, next slide, sorry, into the actual physical building that they work in. You'll see in the dark blue is the existing facility, kind of tucked away in the southwest campus here. And then in the lighter blue, you'll see what we're proposing as the new addition to the facility. The red triangle represents where you would actually enter the campus to get to the facility. As you can see, the route is a little bit circuitous, and in that upper left corner you see the existing facility as it stands today. It's actually burrowed into the ground several feet, and this is the primary entrance of the animal services. The yellow box that you see adjacent to that, the very large one, is the proposed new addition for the DOT Center. And the green triangle to the bottom off of Manchester is where we would hope to see the new entry to the facility. Next slide. So this image you see in the gray is the existing facility. It's about 9,200 square feet. The lighter gray represents the area within that existing structure that we would like to make improvements to. The blue boxes that you see represent the new facility, the addition that we would like to put on. The orange that you see is the outdoor community space that we're proposing. And then the green represents the opportunity for new, larger outdoor run and play areas. Next slide. So Dr. Hannock had identified quite a number of issues that the existing facility has, and by working together over several years, we've managed to look at some great opportunities for finding solutions to these problems. In the rear, you'll see where the primary entrance currently is. We've created a separate employee entrance, so that parking would be to the north where they exist now. We've created an isolated entrance for animals who might have contagions or have other issues that require them to be isolated. We've created an animal intake entrance. This is one of the areas where Dr. Hannock had identified the possibility of positive and negative activities happening within a single entrance. We've now isolated them to their own entrance, which allows that to be a much safer and more private space for them. The primary use of this facility will be expanding the animal housing space. Currently, the animals do sit on top of each other. All species are intertwined within the existing facility because there just simply isn't space for them to have their own space. So you'll see in the existing facility, it is doubled in size, and all of those different species and animals have their own dedicated spaces. They're isolated from each other so that they don't have the worry of predator and prey directly adjacent to one another. As you'll see on the bottom, we've actually created a new primary entrance off of Manchester Road. We hope that this will help engage the community with the services that are provided here at the animal services. And in the lower right, you'll see that larger blue box is the area that we are hoping to create, which would be a multi-use location. It would allow for some flex space, some training, educational, and even emergency housing when that does happen, and it does happen. The orange space, again, is an opportunity for an outdoor community space. It's located directly adjacent to the community, the multi-purpose room, so that the activities within the facility can actually enter to the outdoor space under a covered, weather-protected area. The area that you see in the light gray, the larger box there that has an arrow pointing to it, is actually the expanded surgical and recovery suite. All of the activities that Dr. Hannock had identified happening in a single room right now would actually have dedicated spaces for them. So all of that overlap of function can be isolated and in its appropriate location within the facility. And then we also have created a new garage space to support and protect the mobile veterinary vehicle that was recently purchased. Slide. So this is the image of what you would see. The top image is actually on County Farm Road, the east elevation, and then the bottom image is what you would see on the south elevation along Manchester. You can see that we've changed up the way it looks quite a bit. No longer do we have that 70s rabbit-eared building that's you see in the distance there. But we've tried to use some new warm materials that are also very maintenance-free and functional, and created a new face for not just the facility but the campus itself along Manchester and County Farm Road. And you can see that we've actually, on the lower section, you can see that a little bit more clearly. There's a lot more glazing in the building. Currently, right now, the glazing is extremely limited, which allows very poor opportunities for the animals to actually get natural daylight. So this opens that up quite a bit. And it also, by chopping up some of the forms within the larger structure, we're able to create a more, a smaller looking facility that really addresses the neighbors across the street and allows them to look at something that's a little bit more engaging, and then also has some of the volume size of the houses across the street. So it takes away from that large ominous structure that they see currently. Slide. So this is a rendering of what they would see from Manchester, looking at the southern portion. This is what we envision as the primary entrance of the new animal services. You can see that it actually addresses Manchester rather than turning its back on it. In the background, you can see to the left, that very light colored building is what is being proposed for the new DOT. It is a large structure, and we're hoping that this facility might actually help detract from the view of that facility as well. In the foreground, you'll see that we've got landscaping that will create a nice boundary between the neighbors to the south. And actually, we're looking at expanding that quite a bit more. And you can see how the volumes of the spaces are broken up a little bit more. Thank you. Nick will take you through the dollars and cents.
Next slide, please. So many of you have seen these numbers before, but they're updated from the last time we talked. The estimated project cost is about the same. It's maybe about $70,000 more. We have a much more refined project cost that dials down. It's an entire report on everything, so $10.067 million. The biggest difference from anybody who's seen these numbers before for this project is what we've added for the contingency and escalation, because right now the market is so unpredictable with what we're seeing. We do not want to undershoot it and have to come back for an extra. So we have increased that. In addition, we have learned some items from the regulatory authorities, City of Wheaton, that would be required out there. So we are very comfortable that we have covered everything, especially the depth we now have for our cost estimate from the builder, that this project can be delivered slightly under 11 million at 10.967. And that is about $400,000 or $500,000 more than what we talked about previously, but that's mainly because of the unknowns out there with the construction industry. With this, a portion of this will be ARPA eligible, and we'll go through that in the next slide once I get there. But there are, obviously, the vast majority of this is not ARPA eligible, but what we've done is we've gone through the entire project and we've determined that there are absolutely ARPA eligible components, such as the infection and quarantine, the renovation of existing dog enclosures, security systems, that are allowed, and we will, as we move the project forward, we will ensure that they meet the federal guidelines. Next slide. So how do we pay for an $11 million project, basically? And what this does, it's going to walk us down. So I said the project itself is 10.067. We have a contingency of $900,000. Animal Services has been planning for this project for many, many years. So they have $4 million in reserves already. There has been a pledge donation from the DuPage Animal Friends, that's their fundraising wing, for the department of 1.567. They've also been planning for this. As we mentioned in the previous slide, we feel confident that approximately $900,000 of this would be ARPA eligible. So there would be a request for $900,000 of ARPA funding for this project. All of those funding sources leaves a net shortfall of $4.5 million for this project. So how do we tackle the $4.5 million? Well, I know that the fundraising is our biggest avenue for the $4.5 million that Animal Services and the DuPage Animal Friends have already started. So the thought process is that the general fund would guarantee that $4.5 million with the concurrence from the board, with the understanding that the goal is to raise the entire $4.5 million. It would be only a loan if any portion of that. The thought process is upon approval of the project, which will happen in the next month or so, immediate fundraising efforts will kick into high gear. They've already started, but at that point, then there would be an ordinance that basically talks about a $4.5 million loan from the general fund to animal services that would be paid back if it's taken. The thought process is the vast majority, if not all of it, will never be taken because of the fundraising efforts. But there needs to be a backstop, and that's where the general fund comes in. It allows fundraising to happen throughout the entire project, with construction not even starting until March of 2023. So there's plenty of time to continue with the fundraising efforts. Assuming if they don't raise the full 4.5 million, let's say they only raise 3 million or 2.5 million, the rest of it would indeed be a loan from the general fund. And what we're proposing and what the documents would show that would come before this board would be a loan from the general fund reserves to animal services, where they would pay back at $500,000 per year at 0%. So it would be a net zero impact to the reserves, and it allows them the ability to construct the project and pay it back. Like I said, the hope is we will have the ordinance that talks about a $4.5 million loan, but the hope is that they probably raise the majority, if not all of that. Next slide. Here's a project schedule to kind of let you know where. So obviously we are, in the next month or two, we are looking for concurrence and approval from the board to move forward with this project. There's no decisions today that have to be made, but we would bring all the documents for this project within the next month or 2 months before the board for consideration, including the construction award, the loan agreement, and once we have those in place, then we can begin the project in earnest. And you can see May through August, design development, construction documents, with the bulk of the construction of this project being completed in 2023. That would be construction starting in March, and the new addition being completed by the end of the year. And then the animal services team would transition to the new one, and then we would renovate the old one as part of this, the old space as part of the project, so that we would be done midway through 2024. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura for the final slide.
Thanks, Nick. So next slide, thank you. So, our volunteers, our staff have really adapted to the best of their ability to all these high standards and best practices we've been trying to employ at the shelter, but our building, frankly, has not kept up with that. So I feel that the project we're showing you today really helps us provide stress-free, healthy housing for animals. It allows us to have a more welcoming space to counsel our residents on issues that they're having with animals, which frankly we don't have today. A lot of this is happening in that very public lobby that Dr. Hannock was showing you. It allows us to provide the best care for animals, addressing some of those medical spaces, and that then leads to better outcomes for animals too, which we know our residents want us to find as many positive outcomes as possible for the animals we see. And frankly, it offers a very positive and more public engagement with the community. We're no longer the dog catcher. We're not the pound. We do so much more than just take in animals at the shelter. It allows us to expand opportunities for residents to really benefit from educational and training opportunities. Once again, something we don't have space to do right now. And our goal is that we want this to be the best shelter to work at, the best shelter to volunteer at. We see the importance of volunteering in our communities. And we do this when we create more functional and supportive spaces. It allows us to really do more for our residents. So you've heard that this is something we've been working on for quite a number of years. And if you recall, we even had a plan that we did a feasibility study on. And that study showed that that project, as it sat, was just a little out of reach for our fundraising efforts. So we spent some time scaling the project back, and we really learned a lot too during COVID, new ways to operate, how we could be more efficient with what we were doing. And then we also worked with DuPage Animal Friends to make sure that we could implement some of the donor cultivation strategies that came out of that feasibility study, doing some quiet fundraising. So really the time is now, because we feel that we have a project and a building that can really serve DuPage County for decades to come. We have the support from the community. They want this. And we're in a financial position to make this a reality. So We hope that you guys are excited about it as we are. I mean, we've never feel like so close. It's been something we've all talked about, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions? Member Pachowski.
Is traffic going to be an issue off of Manchester with this? I don't know if they did a traffic study, but I've been there, and it seems like I'm just worried about the traffic or congestion issue on Manchester with this.
Yeah, and I'll have Rox help with that. Yeah, they've been working more directly with the city of Wheaton to understand what that entrance is going to look like.
Yeah, and actually the 45 spaces that we show in the rendering actually has been reduced to 34 spaces, working with Wheaton to understand better the traffic flow through there. We've actually also moved the entrance down off of County Farm Road quite a bit at their recommendation. And then we've increased the landscaping space, which doesn't really affect the traffic flow, but we're also maintaining the employee parking and volunteer parking within the north side of the site. So really what we're looking at in the front of the building on the south side is the public parking.
Further questions? Anyone else? It was a fabulous presentation. We're all very excited about it. It looks wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Hannock. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Architect. Thank you, Nick. That does conclude our presentations on the order of Chairman's report. Our next order of business is public comment. This is where we invite folks to share their thoughts with us. We welcome those remarks, but we ask that they abide by our rules. And individual remarks shall not exceed 3 minutes in length, nor shall the total time provided for all the remarks exceed 30 minutes. And so with that, the first public commenter today is Linda Painter from Willowbrook.
Good morning. My name's Linda Painter. I'm president of Timber Lake Civic Association, and we have 780 single-family homes in southeast unincorporated DuPage County. We were here last year, and we opposed I'm here for the soccer, one of your ordinances this morning. And we were extremely opposed to this, and you all heard us. You all voted 16-0 to oppose this project last year. But things have changed in the year. We met many times on Zoom and in person with our homeowners, and the developer's attorney came out or was on Zoom with one of our meetings and heard all of the homeowners' concerns. They have met pretty much every concern that we had, and they do reflect in the conditions that are being brought to you this morning. The other variance they wanted was to reduce the number of parking spots to 251 parking spots, and we met with that. We felt that that was important to our neighborhood, the smaller parking lot. They've shown that they can make their adjustments to their daily programming to only require 251 parking spots. We feel that there's less lighting in the parking lot, less car headlights, less asphalt, less noise, less stormwater runoff, and less wear and tear on the frontage road. I'm also one of the DuPage County Forest Preserve Commissioners that represent that area. The concerns of the Forest Preserve were given to the developer, and those concerns were also met. There was concerns about the photometric plan. They've revised those to lower the height of the poles and to reduce the amount of lumens at the property line. So in light of all these things, we request that you do support the ordinance this morning. Thank you very much.
Very nice. Dawn Schramm.
Hello, my name is Dawn Schramm. I live directly to the south of the proposed development at 17W350 Shield Drive in Willowbrook. I oppose the West Suburban Soccer development and the conditional use for recreational facility and the parking lot. Although the developer has shortened the height and size of the facility from their original plan, it's still a high-intensity facility that's not in harmony with our surrounding community and will be injurious to the neighborhood and wildlife, detrimental to the public welfare, and is in direct conflict with the county's comprehensive plan for development. The increase of traffic on South Frontage Road is still a major concern for me. With the trucking facility now active, the increase in trucks on this road is already causing issues. Trucks turning onto Frontage Road from southbound Cass Avenue cannot make the first curve in the road without using both lanes. If there's a line of cars on Frontage Road waiting to turn onto Cass Avenue, a truck will be unable to make that turn. Frontage Road is a very narrow roadway. It only allows for enough room for just two vehicles to pass each other. When there's a runner or bicyclist on the road, a vehicle must veer into the oncoming lane to pass by the pedestrian. With the increase of hundreds of cars entering and leaving this facility, the question is not if, but when will the next fatality happen on this stretch of road. When traffic gets backed up on Frontage Road and Cass Avenue, how will emergency, fire, and rescue vehicles be able to get through into our community? When Frontage Road is torn up by heavy vehicles in the demolition and construction of the facility, who will incur the expense to replace this road, and who will incur the expense to maintain Frontage Road with all of the added traffic on it? With this land being over 50% floodway, floodplain, and wetlands, any development of this size will increase the likelihood of flooding in our yards and surrounding community. The daily long hours of operation year-round with the nightly lighting of the parking lot with car lights shining into our windows will have a negative impact on the community and will diminish the value of our homes as well as impair the public health, safety, comfort, and general welfare of our community and create a major nuisance to the large number of runners, bicyclists, and community homeowners that use this road on a daily basis. It will also have a negative impact on the surrounding forest preserve and the existing wildlife in the area. According to the DuPage County Land Use Plan, a new development should be coordinated with existing infrastructure with emphasis on the cumulative impacts on the area. And if the resulting implementation of the plan raises concerns about the changing character and has a negative impact on the existing residential neighborhood, it shall be protected from development by discouraging higher intensity uses. It also states that floodplains, wetlands, and other environmentally sensitive areas will be protected from development, and land planned for residential development in these areas will be preserved for housing development. If this land use plan was written to protect a piece of land, this property, this piece of land, fits the criteria of one that should be protected from development. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Irv Schramm?
Hi, my name is Irv Schramm, and I live at 17 West 350 Shield Drive, again, directly behind this proposed facility. If they put this in, this will drastically affect me. Therefore, I'm asking the board to deny both variances for recreational use and the variance to reduce the parking spaces for a building of this size. Last night, I watched the board meeting from last year when the board voted 16-0 against this development. So what has changed? They've reduced the size, but it's still an 1.75 acre building. That's huge. And the soccer fields were really in question the whole time because it's wetlands back there. So what has changed? They said they sold the southern portion of the property, which is mostly wetlands, to take that out of the picture. If they are granted a variance for recreational use, what's to stop them from buying it back and asking for a variance for recreational use on that property once a precedent has been set? You have the opportunity once again to deny this development from happening. You could simply deny because recreational facilities are not allowed in residential area without a variance. Or you could deny because of the parking, or you could deny because it does not meet the 7 criteria. Can anybody honestly tell me my land values won't go down with an industrial-sized building in my backyard? Secondly, traffic is an issue, but that's been covered. And since my time is limited, I'll skip on to remind the board that they did vote 16-0 against this development. Board Member Hart voted no for the concerns of the residents in the area. Board Member Krajewski said it doesn't meet standards and voted no. Board Member Renovation said that challenges it would bring to the neighborhood are too strong and voted no. Board Member Ozag said that this will fundamentally change this residential area and won't work there. Board Member Garcia actually drove the site, and I thank her for that, and said it would greatly affect the neighborhood and water Glen use, and does not stick with the land use plan of DuPage County. Board Member Chavez, you said it's a great project, and I agree it is a great project, but we should help them find a better place, a better location, as it does not belong in this neighborhood. It doesn't. So I implore all of you to once again deny this development and vote to not allow these variances. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our public comment. We move on to the next order of business entitled consent. Oh, yes, that's correct. We have a new, relatively new procedure. I get to read them all first. Because we're committed to transparency. Consent items. 7A, DuPage County Board regular meeting Tuesday, April 12, 2022. B, payment of claims. 4/8/2022 pay list. C, payment of claims. 4/12/2022 pay list. D, payment of claims. 4/15/2022 pay list. E, payment of claims. 4/19/2022 pay list. F, wire transfers. 4/13/2022 wire transfer. G, consent item, County Recorder's monthly revenue statement, March 2022. H, consent item, Treasurer's report of investments and deposits, March 2022. I, consent item, change orders to various contracts as specified in the attached packet. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve these items on the consent agenda. So moved, Member Chaplin? DeCiani is way ahead of us. Yes, at least on that issue. And then it's been seconded. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. And Desart.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Deputy Clerk. On to the order of County Board, Member Ashley Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on CBR 191-22, a resolution appointment of John Perry to the Lyle Woodridge Fire Protection District.
And a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Selman.
Aye.
Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
And Schwarzy.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin, or Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on CBR 192-22, a resolution appointment of Longri Wong to the Lyle Woodridge Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on CBR 193-22, a resolution appointment of Dawn Majesha, I'm so sorry, to the Glenbard West Protection Fire District.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Next, I move on CBR 194-22, a resolution of appointment of Joseph Grabaskus to the Glenbard Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted. Member Selman, I think we're now on to the order of business where we call on Mr. McCarthy. A drum roll, please.
Members of the board, as you heard earlier, this is the time in the agenda for the lottery to determine the grouping of county board districts. The second lottery, which occurs after the certification of the November general election, but before the beginning of the next term of members-elect, will occur at a county board meeting at that time. All this does is take the 6 districts and break them into 3 groups of 2 districts each, and it's in accordance with Illinois law. As you can see, we have the appropriate accoutrements to conduct a lottery.
Yes, please. Member Zay.
We've never done this before. Why are we doing? Why is this something new? Or
You have done this before. In fact, the video of it's on the website from the meeting in 2012 and also the meeting, I think, in 2000.
yeah, that's true.
It was darker then. The website wasn't as good of quality. Mr. Veenstra pulled the balls from the hat along with Clerk King. So this has been the law since a long time ago, and you only do it every 10 years, though. So.
Is it the same dirty hat?
No, this is a different hat. So as you can see, there are a number of balls here. It's 2. Okay, I was just looking for that one. So we've got number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. We're going to put them into the hat, which has nothing in it.
It's like a magic trick. Oh, yeah. Member Selman, Ashley Selman.
I'm sorry, Connor, could you explain the grouping of 2 again? I think I just didn't understand you.
We'll be pulling the 6 balls out of the hat. Each group, there's 3 groups, Group A, Group B, Group C. And that's in accordance, it's to make sure the terms are staggered across districts, so you don't.
So why don't you explain what Group A is?
So Group A is a group of 2 county board districts, and they will be drawn out of a hat to make sure that they're done by district, so that you don't accidentally have, God forbid, all members of one district up on a 2-year term in one cycle. It's to ensure that they're randomized as much as possible as required by Illinois law.
Okay, thank you so much.
So, as you've seen, the hat is empty. There's nothing in the hat. The balls are appropriately numbered. What's going to happen is I'm going to put the balls in the hat, and then Madam Clerk will pull out the ping pong balls determine who's in Group A, then who's in Group B, and then who's in Group C. And then we have a second lottery after the general election where you'll pull the individual terms.
Is there a sequence of terms assigned to each Group A, B, and C right now?
There are. Well, right now it's assigned, it groups the members by terms. So it would be Group A has terms of 4, 4, 2 for member 1, 2, 4, 4 for member 2, 4, 4, 2 for member 3, etc. Okay. So it's to group the terms to make sure that they're staggered.
So, all right, there's a memorandum accompanying this, so.
I'm just going to
Yeah, it actually is not, it doesn't have high stakes. It's just assigning numbers to a particular grouping.
So we're going to start with Group A because
December is going to be more.
Group A that's what we're pulling to determine member Dessart. Well, Group A is to determine whether County Board District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 is in Group A. Okay. So first district in Group A is District 4, and the second is District 1. Okay, the Group B districts are going to be, the Group B districts will be District 6 and District 2. B means you are grouped categorically into Group B.
You're right on the chart.
And then Group 3, C, sorry. Group C is the remaining 2 balls, which for the avoidance, so is Group Districts 3 and 5. As you can see, there's nothing left in the hat. So we've conducted the lottery. All this means is that now we know that the staggered terms for these groups will be basically linked together.
Right.
Very
nice.
Again, in November or early December, you will be pulling, and the members-elect will be pulling ping pong balls to determine whether they're member 1, member 2, or member 3. That is the order in which you're drawn. So, that being said, I just ask that there be a motion to amend the resolution to reflect the results of the lotto.
Been a motion and a second to reflect the results of the draw here. Everyone can see it. We know that 4 and 1 are in Group A, 6 and 2 are Group B, 3 and 5 Group C. With all those in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Thank you very much, Mr. McCarthy. On to the next item, Member Selman.
That was the item we just adopted.
Oh,
correct?
the amendment. Well, okay, so you're right, very good. You don't want to mess this up. So yeah, there's a motion to adopt the amendment to the resolution. Motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now to adopt the resolution as amended, this item E, right? I should let you do this, actually.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take a motion on CBO 26-22, ordinance adopting lottery
F.
results and member lottery procedure as amended.
Then a motion and a second to adopt item F, CB 0026-22, ordinance as amended. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Selman.
Aye.
Tornatori. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Chalsky. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
And Schwarzy.
Okie dokie. Thank you. Very nice report, Member Salmon. On to the order of finance, Member Chaplin.
Good morning, Chairman, and thank you. By way of committee update, I did want to let the public know that we had a very robust conversation this morning regarding the compensation of the elected officials, as well as we had some good discussion also regarding the resolution allowing the use of ARPA funds for revenue replacement. So we did discuss both those items in much depth just a few minutes ago. So with that, I will move on FIR 018622, resolution acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of the Healthcare and Family Services Access and Visitation Grant in the amount of $102,000.
Then a motion and a second. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Aye. Covert. Desart. Aye. DeCiani. Aye. Eckhoff. Aye. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Aye. Krajewski. LaPlante. Aye. Ozog. Aye. Chowsky. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. And Zay.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. I move approval of FIR 019622, resolution budget transfers 426-2022 from various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 019722, resolution allowing the use of ARPA funds for replacement revenue in the amount of $10 million.
Before I accept the leave, we have a question. Member Desart.
Yes, I would like to request a roll call vote, please.
Okay, there's a roll call request, is always in order. Mr. Clerk, there's been a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Aye. Covert. Aye. Desart. No. DeCiani. Aye. Eckhoff. Aye. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Aye. Krajewski. Aye. LaPlante. Aye. Ozog. Aye. Chowsky. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. Aye. And Zay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. I move approval of FIO 002422, ordinance determining the compensation of members of the DuPage County Board and the DuPage County Board Chairman for 2022.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Aye. Covert. Aye. Desart. Aye. DeCiani. Aye. Eckhoff. Aye. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Chowsky. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. And Zay.
Thank you. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIO 002522, ordinance determining the compensation of various DuPage County elected officials for 2022.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. And finally, I move approval of change order FIP 0299A19, recommendation for the approval of an amendment to resolution FIP 029919 for a change order amending the purchase order 4305001 served for a contract issued to Baker Tilly U.S. LLP to provide countywide and federal grant independent audit services through 2023 for finance to increase the contract in the amount of $23,800, resulting in an amended contract total not to exceed $1,758,280.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Oh, I'm finished. Thank you.
Wow, that was really efficient. Moving on to the next order of business, the Ad Hoc Fine Arts Committee, Member Lynn LaPlante.
Thank you so much, Chairman Cronin. This is just your friendly update about our Fine Arts Committee and our upcoming Fine Arts Initiative, the DuPage Community Arts Festival. I want to make sure that everyone has on their calendar, save that date, May 28th, it's Saturday, starting at 10 a.m., going till 11 p.m., 3 concurrent stages that are going to be filled with nonstop music, visual art, dance, everything that you can think of. It's a family-friendly event, so especially during the morning, we're going to have a lot of performances geared towards students and children, so please bring the whole family. And bring a picnic blanket, bring lawn chairs, plan to come and set up for the day. Gourmet food trucks, we have beer and wine and beverages available for purchase. And it's going to be a wonderful way to gather as a community and celebrate the arts and highlight the importance of the arts in economic development. You can't have a vibrant, strong economy without a vibrant, strong artistic community. Tickets are now on sale. This is very exciting, people. So go to DuPageCountyFair.org, DuPageCountyFair.org for more information. You can see the schedule. You can pick out which acts that you want to make sure that you're there for, and purchase your tickets. I'll be giving updates as we keep going, but just want to make sure that everyone has that on their radar. Also, just a little teaser, I'm thrilled with the sponsorship and funding that we have received thus far. And as you can hear behind me, all the talking by Member Zay, that's him offering to buy everyone around. So thank you so much. I cannot wait to see everyone at the DuPage Community Arts Festival, Saturday, May 28th. Thank you.
Be there or be square.
You got it.
Okay, moving on to the next order of business, development. Member Sam Tornatore.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Move approval, God bless you. Move approval of DCO 22-22 ordinance zoning 22-000006. This is a variation to reduce the side yard setback from 20 feet to approximately 10 feet for a new accessory storage building in York Township.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay. Aye. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Aye. Covert. Desart. Aye. DeCiani. Aye. Peckoff. Aye. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Aye. Krajewski. Aye. LaPlante. Aye. Ozog. Aye. Chowski. Aye. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. And Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member
Thank you, Mr.
Tornatore.
Chairman. Before I move on to the next item, the Development Committee was given a little bit of a curveball on this from the Zoning Board of Appeals. There was an approval on the conditional use, but a denial of the variation. The Development Committee took both matters together and approved both the conditional use and the variation. Because the Development Committee is essentially overturning the Zoning Board of Appeals decision on the variation, it will require a 3/4 majority or 14 members of the board to approve this ordinance with both the conditional use and the variation. That said, I move approval of DCO 23-22, ordinance zoning 22-000013, West Suburban Development, a conditional use for an indoor soccer recreational facility, and a variation to reduce the required number of parking places from 344 to 251.
There's been a motion and a second and a question. Member to start.
Not a question, just a comment. I'm not on the development committee, but I did sit in last week when this was discussed. And I just wanted to let the folks in this Willowbrook community know that, you know, I appreciate all of the emails I received asking me to support this, and all of the emails I received asking me not to support this. But the overwhelming majority were asking to support, so I will be supporting this today. Thank you.
Okay. There's been a motion, a further discussion. Member DeCiani.
Thank you, Chairman. I also want to concur that things have changed here with the site. We have a reduction in parking. We also are losing a very large site with the Odeum, which is one of our few indoor soccer places to play soccer. So, which is also bringing a need to this. So, 2 years ago we were against this. We've got, I think, a different set of plans, a different perspective. It's not going to be with the parking reduction. It's not going to be a huge concert type thing that could be a problem for the area. We have Commissioner Painter here from the Forest Reserve, who obviously we all respect from the district. So I will be voting in favor. Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion, anyone? There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Tornatori.
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. And Selman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Tornatoria.
Mr. Chairman. That concludes my report.
A fine report at that. Under the order of economic development, Member Amy Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to request a motion to approve a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Quad County Urban League Youth Training Program, May 1st, 2022 through April 30th, 2023. Contract not to exceed $347,453.36, sole source.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. Zay. And Chaplin.
Aye.
Thank you, Member Chavez. Under the order of environmental for a committee update, Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chairman. Always appreciate the opportunity to talk about our environment and the challenges that we all face. I want to, in our technology report, we're going to be voting on the new website, but I want to thank the company that's working with us. They gave us links to 4 different other county websites that they've done. And of course, I went to those websites and looked at what their environmental approaches were. And one of the things I wanted to pass along was, we're all familiar with the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. But now people are proposing there should be 6 R's. The first one of those would be refuse. So stop buying single-use things. Stop you can buy reusable straws, things like that, reusable cups. The more we can reduce the things going to our landfill, the better.
How's that different than reuse? We got reuse already, one of the 3.
Well, refuse to use single item, once before I gave a report refuse
okay.
that you can buy laundry detergent in sheets that doesn't come in a gigantic plastic bottle.
Refusing.
So things like that. Think about those things that we can cut back on. Of course, reduce, we all know what that is. Reuse, those are all familiar. The fourth one is repair. So stop throwing away something because it might have a small chip things like that. Think about it. But we're so throwaway these days that we need to get back to taking care of those items. Recycle, we all know. The very last one is rot. And what that is food scrap waste. Goes to our landfill, produces methane. And if we could keep a lot of the food scraps from going into our landfills, we could immediately reduce the carbon in our air by 10%. So, and as going forward with our trash hauling contract here on the complex, I'm asking that we include food scrap composting as part of that contract as well. So just something to think about, thinking about being good stewards of our environment. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Always informative. On to the order of Health and Human Services. I know Member Renahan is not here, so we have Member Chaplin. Yes, please.
Either. So, yeah, so thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
So I move approval of HHSR 018722, recommendation for the approval of modification number 1 to agreement HM 9209 with South Group LLC, clarifying continued use requirements for Maple Court Apartments and approval of subordination request.
Been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Shorzy. Selman. Tornatore. Anze.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. I move approval of FIR 018822, recommendation for the approval of the second modification to an Emergency Solutions Block Grant Agreement with Catholic Charities, project number ES2003A, for the purpose of homeless prevention and rapid rehousing, reducing the award by $90.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of HHSR 018922, recommendation for the approval of early release of liens on the properties located at 4109 William Street, Downers Grove, and 5 North 641 Albine Trail in Bloomingdale for project HM0306 Ray Graham Association.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move approval of authorization for travel, weatherization assessor to attend the HVAC and diagnostic refresher course at the Climate Research Training Center in Champaign, Illinois from June 12, 2022 through June 15, 2022. Expenses to include lodging, parking, mileage, and per diem for approximate total of $540.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of authorization for overnight travel weatherization assessor to attend mobile home training course at the Climate Research Training Center, Champaign, Illinois, from June 5th, 2022 through June 9th, 2022, for the approximate amount of $685. These are grant funded.
Second most favorable roll. Leave is granted. Very good. Oh, for Pete's sake. That's all right. That's okay. No, it's nice. We have to do things the right way here. It's been a motion and a second. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Shorzy. Selman. Tornatore. Anze.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you, Chairman. Finally, I move approval of authorization for overnight travel community service director to attend the spring meeting of the Board of Directors of the National Association of Counties in Anchorage, Alaska from May 6, 2022 to May 19, 2022 for a total amount not to exceed $2,755.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice. We move on to the next order of business, judicial public safety, and in Member Renahan's absence, we have Member Chaplin. No? Oh, Member Pachowski. Forgive me. Please.
No, it's already been discharged. Move to approve JPSP 0135-22, recommendation of approval of contract purchase order to Kruger International Inc. for the purchase of audience seats for courtrooms 2005-2007 for a total contract amount of $40,932.55.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Pachowski.
Aye.
Renahan. Rutledge. Shorzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. And Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Member Pachowski. On to the order of legislative. Member Dawn Desart for a committee update.
Thank you, Chairman. Coming up today during our legislative committee meeting, we will be hosting all of our Springfield lobbyists via Zoom to break down the abbreviated spring session. Even though it was short, some amazing legislation passed in Springfield. One exciting example, the Illinois Senate passed a monthly cap for out-of-pocket insulin costs, saving families hundreds and thousands of dollars annually. So join us with your questions immediately following this meeting as we welcome Chip Humes, Mark Polis, and Dave Sullivan. Thank you. He's a federal lobbyist,
I know.
so we're excluding him this time.
How's he doing?
Oh, I think he came out of surgery very, very well. Chairman just asked me about Bill Videy, our federal lobbyist. Bill came out of surgery very, very well and is in recovery. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. On to the order of Public Works. Member Mary Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, this afternoon, I'm going to be hoping the weather is going to hold. I'm going to be visiting the Nordic wastewater facility project, and I think it's on time and on budget for my favorite words, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this project is progressing. It started last year, and hopefully will be wrapped up this year. They're also replacing a 40-year-old facility, but keeping the water running up in Itasca, so I'm looking forward to that. So I move for approval today of FMP 014422, recommendation for approval of a contract to C. Armbrust Plumbing and Heating to provide time and material plumbing services as needed for county facilities for the period May 15, 2022 through May 14, 2023 for facilities management for a contract total amount not to exceed $50,000 per renewal option under bid award, third and final option to renew.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ozog.
Yes.
Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. And LaPlante.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of PWP 014222, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Coons Country Ford of Antioch for the purchase of one 2022 Ford Explorer four-door for Public Works for a total contract amount not to exceed $38,286, pricing in compliance with Government Joint Purchasing Act, Suburban Purchasing Cooperative.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Okay. And finally, I move for approval of PWP 014322, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Roll Chemical Corporation to furnish and deliver sodium hypochlorite for the Woodridge, Green Valley, and Knollwood wastewater facilities for Public Works for the period April 26, 2022 through October 31, 2022, for a contract total amount not to exceed $135,000 per low bid.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozog. A fine report.
Thank you.
On to the order of technology. Member Ashley Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By way of committee update, as I mentioned during finance, our IT team is helping track all of the tech assets that we use. So if you weren't able to catch them between finance and county board, Michelle and Tony will be in the board office after. So please stop by today or they'll keep finding you. And then just a brief update on item A. This is a very exciting vote we get to take today. It is to select the company that is going to be building our brand new website and bringing us into the 21st century. And I won't characterize which century we are in now. But I want to give a hearty thank you to Anthony McPherson, the IT team, and various department heads, as well as members of the public who responded to the survey and helped inform this RFP process. With that, I'll move on to TEP 147-22, a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Revise LLC for professional services to plan, design, and implement a custom website. This goes from April 27th, 2022 through April 26th, 2026 for a total of $188,600, and this is an ARPA item.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Selman.
Aye.
Tornatore. Aye. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
And Schwarzy.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on TEP 148-22, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Episerver Inc. for annual maintenance of our content management system. This contract covers May 24th, 2022 through May 23rd, 2023 for a total of $33,770.68.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on TEP 149-22, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to SHI International Corp. for the purchase of laptops, monitors, and docking stations. This contract covers a period of April 27th, 2022 through April 26th, 2023 for a total of $75,000.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on TEP 150-22, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Insight Public Sector for the purchase of laptops, monitors, docking stations, and other accessories. This is from April 27th, 2022 through April 26th, 2023 for a total of $75,000.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Move on TEP 151-22, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to CWG for laptops, monitors, docking stations, and other computer accessories. This covers a contract of April 27th, 2022 through April 26th, 2023 for a total of $75,000.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
And lastly, I move on TECO 15-22, an amendment to County Contract 5492-1-Serve issued to Infor Inc. for technical and application support for our HR and payroll systems. This adds an additional 80 hours of support for an increase of $18,000 for a total of $43,618.08 for an increase of 70.26%.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Selman. Fine report. On to the order of transportation, Member Don Pachowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move to approve DTR 0190-22, an awarding resolution to Martin Construction, Inc. for 2022 retaining wall repair program for an estimated county cost of $134,104 per low bid.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Pachowski.
Aye.
Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. And Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Pachowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move to approve DTP 0136-2022, recommendation for approval of a contract to Specific Construction Services LLC for the removal and replacement of an off-site maintenance facility for a estimated county cost of $6,861,879, which is low bid.
Leave is granted. Member Pachowski.
Move to approve DTP 0137-22, recommendation for approval of contract to BCR Automotive Group LLC, DBA Rochefort, to furnish and deliver Ford/Motorcraft repair and replacement parts as needed for a cost not to exceed $70,000.
Leave is granted. Member Pachowski.
Move to approve DTP 0138-22, recommendation for approval of contract to Gaspar Alberts Consulting LLC for professional construction engineering services for the Division of Transportation for a contract not to exceed $400,000.
Leave is granted. Member Pachowski.
Move to approve DTP 0139-22, recommendation for approval of contract ESI Consultants Limited to provide professional construction engineering services for the 22 Pavement Maintenance South Program for a contract not to exceed $413,980.28.
Leave is granted. Member
Move to approve
Pachowski.
DTP 0140-22, recommendation for approval of contract to H.W. Lochner, Inc. to provide professional structural engineering services upon request of the Division of Transportation not to exceed
Second most favorable
$350,000.
Leave is granted. Member Pachowski.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, move to approve DTP 0141, recommendation for approval of contract with Primera Engineers Limited to provide professional construction engineering services for the 2022 Pavement Maintenance North Program
most favorable
for a
rule.
contract not to exceed $406,011.54.
Request for leave is granted. Thank you, Member Pachowski. A fine report. Very expeditious as well. That concludes all our committee reports. We move on to the next item of business that we're familiar with, discussion. We are obligated by state law to post this. If anyone would like to discuss PA 0646 pension obligation projections required by the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act. Seeing none, hearing none, we move on to the next order of business entitled Old Business, things that happened in the past. Member Garcia.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to give kudos to our DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau. They brought on the USBC Women's Bowling Championship, which will be here from April 17th through July 15th up in Addison. That's estimated to bring in about $12 million to DuPage County. Jobs, they're talking about 40 to 65 temporary workers, and so I think that, and also like about 15,000 hotel rooms. So a big round of applause for the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for really bringing in another great event for DuPage County.
Further discussion, Mr. Pachowski on.
I would echo those remarks. Living in Addison, the restaurants are filled. You go past that bowling alley, it's 76 lanes, and it's crowded, and it's the entire month. So this is a huge financial plus. So thank everybody who put this together, because Addison bars, restaurants, and the restaurants around and hotels, there's a different thing going on every day, and that bowling alley is packed. So this was a great event, and if you can stop in, please do so.
Sounds good. Nice plug. Anyone else on the order of old business? Old business, seeing none, hearing none. We move on to the next order of business entitled New Business. Looking forward to something in the future. New business. Okay. We do have an item to come before us on the order of executive session. So in the interest of time, I'll entertain a motion. It's been a motion and a second that we can organize ourselves into executive session. As we head into executive session, we ask that those logged on via Zoom, they have to disconnect, right?
Remember, we're going into executive session pursuant to.
I'm getting to that. So yeah. Okay. So is it pending litigation?
No, it's review executive session.
Okay. So the purpose of our meeting in executive session is to review executive session minutes. That's pursuant to Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120/2C21. There's been a motion and a second to organize into this proceeding. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Desart. DeCiani. No, the motion, you're good. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. Zay. Chaplin. Chavez. And Covert.
I think the room appears to be cleared. There only appears to be appropriate people. I think that was the index finger.
At least to say that you have a quorum still.
Okay, so for the record, I see that we have a quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 members present. That's a quorum. So without further objection, we have risen out of executive session, and now we're in regular session. And we have matters referred from executive session to be considered. And they are CBR 0195-22, Resolution Review of County Board Executive Session Minutes. There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman.
Aye.
Tornatori. And Zay.
Okay. The resolution is adopted. I now would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting to Tuesday, May 10th, 2022 at 10 a.m. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.